Okay guys, before we go into the park, let's check some reviews on Tripadvisor. 4.5 average rating, 102 excellent, 82 very good, 18 average, 5 poor, and 4 terrible. Bev Mick from Dyersburg, Tennessee, with a 1-star review. Couples, couldn't find it, big disappointment. I could not park close to it and walk right up to them. Found the huge oak tree, which was cool. I really don't know where they parked at, because when I went there, you can park right up close to it. This next one is from Philip A. He says hard to find also, but worth the effort. Use smartphone and maps. This off the beaten path historic site is a treasure. Ruins are visually arresting with many interpretive signs and exhibits. The unpaved but well-graded 1-mile entrance road adds to the adventure and traverses a jungle-like coastal hammock that ends at a tributary of the Halifax River. Beautiful. Okay, this next one is from 73KT64 from Twin Mountain, New Hampshire. 3-star review, quick visit. Ruins of a sugarcane plantation. Great spot if you like history and nature. Definitely bring bug spray. Absolutely. Okay, next review is from Diver M, Jupiter, Florida. 5 stars. Fascinating history and wildlife. Went with friends. This was really cool. We enjoyed the ruins and there was quite a bit to see. We also saw a family of wild boars while we were driving out. I highly recommend it. Okay, this next one is from Florida Girl from the Villages in Florida. She says cool ruins, 4 stars. Of all the parks around Ormond that we have visited, this one is the best. More ruins, well documented, picnic tables, screened-in area with picnic tables, restroom, what looks to be a boat slip, and canoes that they use to rent $40 a day. There is a sign there currently saying they aren't for rent, probably because of COVID. There is not a park ranger around to ask any questions to. It is an honor system for paying the $4 to get in. You place the money in an envelope and place the tag sticker on your rearview mirror or dash. Okay, so let's go in here and take a look for ourselves. Here's the gate. You basically have a blue envelope. You put your $4 in there, and it's an honor system. You put the blue tag around your rearview mirror, and you drive on into the park and just have a look around. After you leave the boardwalk, the boat ramp, and the picnic area, it's about another quarter of a mile going north until you reach the actual sugar mills. Enjoy.
Welcome to Bulow Plantation. You are standing in the area where the Bulowville sugar mill once stood. Listen on to hear the story of Bulow Plantation as told from the perspective of John Joachim Bulow. You are at a panel that features text, a touchable map, and a graphic depiction of the plantation as seen from above. The background of this panel is a photo mural of tall, green stalks of sugarcane. Sweet Dreams, Sugar Production in East Florida.
Welcome to Bulowville, the plantation my father, Charles Wilhelm Bulow, purchased and began to develop in 1821. Not much is left now, but between 1823 and 1836, when the Seminole Indians burned the plantation at the beginning of the Second Seminole War, Bulowville was one of the largest sugar plantations in East Florida. Sugar planting and milling really took off in East Florida after the United States of America obtained Florida as a territory in 1821. People hoped that Florida could produce sugar for the United States like our neighbor Louisiana. Of some 12 sugar plantations stretching from St. Augustine to Cape Canaveral during this period, Bulowville was one of the largest and wealthiest. 1,000 acres of my 6,675-acre plantation were planted in sugarcane.
Just below the text is the graphic drawing, an artist rendition of Bulowville, 1823 to 1836. At the right, small buildings line the outer rim of a horseshoe-shaped clearing. At the opened end of the clearing stands a large plantation house. A path leads away from the plantation house beyond the clearing and through the center of vast fields of sugarcane towards the sugar mill. To the right of this drawing is a map focusing on the eastern Florida coast, noting various sugar plantations. You are invited to explore this raised map of sugar territory in East Florida with your hands. On the left side of the panel is a drawing of Charles Wilhelm Bulow, a man with a full head of curly hair and long sideburns. His neck is wrapped in a cravat. Text tells us,
My father, Charles Wilhelm Bulow, was born about 1778 in South Carolina to a German Lutheran minister. A wealthy man, my father purchased a 4,675-acre plantation in Florida for $9,944.50 in 1821. He died in 1823, and I, his son, John Joachim Bulow, inherited the plantation and built the sugar mill you see today.
Follow the path ahead of you to explore the sugar mill ruins. just a spoonful of sugar, the transformation of cane juice into sugar. You are standing at what once was the curing room of the Bulow sugar mill. In brown tones, this panel features a drawing of slaves at work around large barrels or hogsheads. The rest of the panel includes text, a color photo of sugarcane, and a touchable outline of a hogshead.
After granulating and cooling in the sugar house, my sugar was still not ready to ship out. Although it was granulated, the sugar was still wet with molasses. Slaves scored and spaded this cooled sugar into hogsheads, or large barrels, located in the 2 curing rooms on either side of the loading area. These hogsheads could hold about 1,000 pounds of sugar. In the warm curing rooms, slaves placed the hogsheads on boards over cisterns. Open joints in the barrels and tubes made of cane, fixed into the hogsheads, allowed the molasses to drain out of the barrels and into the containers below, a process that took about 30 days. Once the molasses drained from the sugar, slaves filled the hogsheads up with more sugar, and they were ready to ship. Some plantations, such as Dummit, had their own distilleries to make rum from molasses, but mine did not.
Just below this text is a drawing of a brass plate in 2 sections, a comparison of the sugar productivity of Bulow's plantation versus a modern corporation. Bulow Plantation sugar yield: 200 slaves, 1,000 acres planted, 1.2 million pounds of sugar produced, 1,200 pounds of sugar per acre, 115.2 million teaspoons of sugar. Modern corporation sugar yield: 17,000 employees, 187,000 acres planted, 299.2 million pounds of sugar produced, 1,600 pounds of sugar per acre, 28.7 billion teaspoons of sugar. Immediately below this comparison is the drawing of slaves within a stone structure. Hogsheads are grouped to the left of a planked walkway. To the right, 2 slaves tip a container of sugar over a hogshead, pouring its contents into the barrel. To the right, just beyond this cutaway view inside the building, is a team of 2 horses, a rider behind them, and a cart loaded with hogsheads. At right, just under a photo of sugarcane, with long blade-like green leaves hanging from pole-like gray trunks, is additional text.
I can't tell you how much profit I made from a typical sugar crop, but in 1836, following the destruction of my plantation, I estimated that my crops for that year would have been worth at least $20,000.
Below this area is a touchable outline of a hogshead barrel atop legs. Feel free to touch the model. Beyond the plantation, from field to market. You are standing at what was once the storage and loading area of the Bulow sugar mill. This panel shows a wide building, the sugar mill, with 3 arched openings and 2 chimneys belching smoke. It also includes another drawing of the plantation, seen from above, and a touchable outline of a barge on the creek.
The last step in producing sugar on my plantation involved getting it ready to ship north to market. Once the molasses drained from the hogsheads in the curing room, slaves transferred both the sugar and the molasses to this loading area between the two curing rooms to wait for their journey by wagon to Bulow Creek. If you walk back toward the plantation house, you may notice some spaces carved out in the creek bank to your right as you look out over Bulow Creek. These boat slips held the flats that eventually carried my sugar and molasses down the creek to the Halifax River and onto Mosquito Inlet, now Ponce de Leon Inlet, where workers loaded them onto boats bound for Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and Savannah.
The drawing below this text illustrates workers as they load hogsheads of sugar and barrels of molasses onto wagons. The slaves surround the horse-drawn wagon positioned at the center arch of 3 openings in the ground level of the structure. At the left is another depiction featuring a view of the plantation as seen from above. In this view, a fence-like ring has been constructed around the plantation's main house. Not far from the front of the house is a rectangular enclosure of smaller structures. Text explains that
In December 1835, war broke out between the Seminole Indians and United States troops. Our Indian neighbors were resisting removal to reservations out west. On December 28, Major Benjamin Putnam and his troops occupied Bulowville against my wishes and remained until late January 1836. Shortly after the troops left, my plantation was burned, we think by the Seminole Indians. United States troops used plantation materials to build a fortification around Bulowville.
to the far right on the panel is a touchable outline of a barge, or flat, with long oars extending from each side. A worker stands at back, steering the flat. Text encourages you to use your hands to explore this scale model of a typical flat used to carry.
Okay, we're headed out now. I hope you enjoyed the video. when you're in these types of areas, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to see a turtle. I see one almost every time I go out. I give my experience at Bulow Plantation a 4-star rating. It's a very nice area. This is my second time coming, which lets you know how fascinated I was about it the first time. Okay guys, that is the end of the video. I hope I can continue doing these videos and hopefully get better at doing it. Have a nice day.